So I took my most recent video down because it was objectively stupid. Arya Davude is not Alex Tilgman, Yahweh Rules 2. That was stupid. That was to troll people, and I regret doing that. So I hope you guys know that I make dumb decisions sometimes, and I will keep that to a minimum. So without further ado, I'm gonna get into the subject matter of the video. Where do all of these shills come from? Where do all of these people who infiltrate the flat earth movement, the people who created the demon tranny clone movement, the reptilian movement, the truther movement as a whole, people who infiltrate that shit, how are they chosen to be shills? Like, let's take a Yahweh Rules, for example, a prime example of a shill, or better yet, an Alex Jones or a David Icke, who are both Odysseus, and Alex Jones Yahweh Rules is Dagon. The original Yahweh Rules, that is Dagon. How are they chosen to do their job as a shill? How are they chosen to lie to people or tell half-truths or shill on all that conspiracy shit? What are they programmed at birth to do it? Are they taken to some ritual when they're young to start doing that shit, shilling when they're older? So what's going on? And believe it or not, I'm not a shill, or at least I'm not an intentional shill. I'm not associated with any underworldian thing. I'm not part of, I never went to any rituals growing up. I just all of a sudden one day clicked on an alien video talking about aliens, and led me down to all of this shit, this occult research regarding archangels, gods, avatars, demons, whatever, Illuminati, all that shit. So the rest is history. So y'all don't trust me. I mean, I know I'm telling the truth, but, you know, because I am Horus, after all, I don't know to what extent I can really be trusted. So, how are these shills exactly chosen? You know, the flat earth movement ran by Nyarlathotep. The round earth movement ran by Nyarlathotep and Odysseus, by extension of being every astronaut. All my research comes from Arya, Vampiric Academia 3. I don't want to take credit for it, so a lot of my research, or if not all of it, is based on Vampiric Academia 3, so do not get it twisted. And yeah, this is going to be a long video. And there's a lot to talk about. So you see these flat earthers online. You see all of them are Nyarlathotep. You see that they're the same creatures as all the people saying the earth is round. So how are they chosen? What avatars are chosen to do their specific jobs? Like that's what I'm wondering. That's the question that I'm asking. So, how was that decided? Why, what specific entity and this and that? That's what you've got to wonder. So, yeah, that's the first thing I really wanted to talk about. The second thing I wanted to talk about is that all of these people, these so-called people, who run the conspiracy movement, the mainstream, or I guess the more mainstream conspiracy movement, they could keep the demon tranny clone thing going if they really wanted to. They could keep the reptilian thing going for as long as they wanted to, but yet they choose not to. If we still had people talking about clones, I'm sure that movement would be stronger now. And I'm still sure there are people who believe in clones, but probably a minority of the truther movement. But yeah, when do they decide to kill off certain movements, like the demon tranny clone movement or the reptilian movement, which I guess is not completely dead, and shit, the whole reptilian thing, the whole multiple role people thing, that could be real. That's something I'm like more 50-50 on. I don't fucking know. Oh shit. Oh, well, not the reptilian thing, obviously. Aliens are, or a psyop. Aliens are, I think, for the most part, outer beings, and every alien abductee is every astronaut, aka Odysseus, if I'm not mistaken. And the multiple role character thing could be real. I've seen people out in public that look very similar, like facial feature wise, expression wise, to people who I know in my own life. And that's no coincidence. And that could be the people from the underworld. If you hear Arya talk about the underworld a lot, you hear him talk about how these underworld people go up to the surface world, can appear as any age they want to, can appear as any gender they want to, age, money. Wait. They can fucking do all that shit, choose all that shit. It doesn't matter how old they actually are. And that leads me to conclude something. That the majority of people out here on these streets are from the underworld. And sorry about that. I'm on a crosswalk, if you couldn't tell. But it leads me to conclude this. You hear Arya talk about, the underworld people from the underworld, and how the underworld people can choose to be any age they want to, regardless of how old they actually are, through magic. And you hear Aaron Haywood talk about people playing multiple roles. About this actor secretly pretends to be this actor. That's his theory. there's more than shape-shifting going on in his theory, obviously. I mean, that's where him and Arya converge, is that they both believe in avatars of certain beings. And both of their theories, the multiple role actor theory and the underworld people coming up to the surface world theory, leads me to conclude that there are people from the underworld. If they can appear as any age they want to, they can also probably appear as any person they want to. Probably not as any expression they want to, because that can't change, because you are your expression. You are your face, essentially, if that makes sense. You are your expression, and there's no changing that. That doesn't matter what species, race, sex, doesn't matter any of that. What matters is your expression, and that's who you are, really, deep down. Or not deep down, but just period, point blank, that's who you are, your expression. So they can't change that, probably, but they can probably alter their identity, and that's what I suspect. What a lot of people are just, these fake people that come into your life, and pretend to be someone, and then they, I don't know, may go out of your life at a certain point. And this has happened to me, where I think like the same people play different roles and are the same entity and are from the underworld. So that could be one possibility going on. And am I from the underworld? And I've actually wondered this myself. Because not that I grew up down there, I had a normal childhood. I grew up on the surface world. I had a family. I had a mom and dad, and I had an older brother, obviously, but, point being, I had a normal childhood, and I'm a real human, or at the very least, I'm an avatar. But, the reason I suspect I might be from the underworld, though, is the fact that I noticed that my parents, when they were married, they divorced when I was 6 and I'm 20 now. But when they were married, they hated each other so much. Like, my dad, I think, cheated on my mom. And I'm pretty sure my dad's an avatar of Horus like me. And the reason I suspect that is the fact that he was touched as a kid by a dude named John Breedlove, who is most certainly an avatar of Horus like me. And back to the topic, I noticed that my parents really had a bad relationship. My dad cheated on my mom, which, I could understand. It's a whole complicated situation. Although it brings to mind that if they didn't like each other, if they couldn't stand